the death penalty, but have a problem with the fact that this guy is a criminal. We knew he was a criminal. He said it before. He said he could go out, kill somebody, and nothing would happen to him. And frankly, he's pissed off because 1 out of 4 of the prosecutions that he's facing actually went forward. But we've actually experienced a breakdown in this country because the fact that the other 3 prosecutions are being held up, where we had grand jurors that came together, saw evidence, and saw fit to actually say you have enough for an indictment, and now you want to challenge and threaten these jurors. That makes no sense, and that's not the American way.
I want to ask about him, Trump sort of leaning into this I'm a criminal thing. And you said he has compared himself to Al Capone multiple times. He had on stage with him in the Bronx 2 individuals who are currently under indictment for a conspiracy that includes attempted murder, if I'm not mistaken. They're facing those charges. And there's this, I've heard him say it almost explicitly, and others, that black folks and black voters will like this because they like criminals, or because they have had unfavorable experience with the criminal justice system. I think that's the more charitable way of saying it. What is your reaction to him leaning into that?
It's more racism. Because essentially what you're saying is that black people, we know y'all know all about going to jail. To be clear, this guy has 34 felonies. I've never been arrested for a traffic ticket. I do want to be clear that there are black folk that haven't actually experienced jail. I have been in jail, obviously, as a former criminal defense attorney. But I do want to be clear that, as Kendrick Lamar says, they are not like us. He is not like us. So for my clients, I've never had one that had this many charges pending against them, but I've never had anybody come close to him and somehow still be walking free pre-trial. That's not how we get treated when we end up getting locked up. In addition to the fact that I appreciate those that are on social media pointing out the hypocrisies that right now in this country, this guy can get high 6 figures for a job and potentially be hired, where in most places we can't even ban the bots so that people who have a record can actually get an interview for an hourly job. So no, you're not being treated like us. It is a 2-tier justice system. And unfortunately, you have been treated so much more favorably than you should have ever. The fact that we're debating whether or not he's going to jail doesn't make sense either.
When you hear your colleagues talk like Ronnie Jackson, he's a colleague of yours, in the same...
Thank you for reminding me.
Well, he's in the state delegation as you are. Basically saying, look, explicitly, we have to go after... There's 2 ways to interpret it. This is what an old coach of mine would call down the block tough, right? Like, after someone walks away, be like, yeah, what? There's like a little bit of that. And there's a lot. J.D. Vance is like the most down the block tough person I've ever seen in my life, in public life. So there's a lot of that. But there's also, listen to what they're saying. Which of those 2 do you sort of find yourself pulled towards?
Definitely, they inspire other keyboard warriors,
right.
And they like to do a lot of talk because they will send out an email and they will raise money because they talk tough.
Right.
But I do think that the vast majority of them honestly don't have it in them to get anything done. They just like to talk tough and like rile people up. I do believe, though, that we do have some real crazy people, like legit, like you are all the way out there and you will push forward and you
if
will
given power, I guess.
If given power, absolutely. And I also think that even if some of those are kind of more talkers, they're followers. And that's also scary because that's what we've seen is that MAGA will take the lead and they're like, we can't get caught slipping. Like, we got to go ahead and go along with the show, but they're going reluctantly. You have very few that actually push back. I always bring Ken Buck up because Ken Buck is Freedom Caucus. The Freedom Caucus guy said, you guys are crazy, I'm out. Not the moderate Republican, the Freedom Caucus guy. But he absolutely believes in our institutions, and that's what we're missing right now.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.